All right, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. This is your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando Camp. And just through the spirit, I saw this clip. All right. And matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and start off with this right here in Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9 in verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. All right. Now, because this Revelation 9 is that's a whole another breakdown within itself. But just to get to the point, as I read in verse 16, going into that 200,000. All right. Watching this clip, it just had me thinking, which is what inspired me to do this. The simple fact that you have all these nations stacking up their arsenal when it comes to these ICBM missiles, these intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right. Slovakia. And as the threat of, or the talk of nuclear warfare, all right, which is going to be the end all be all for Esau, for the other nations, all right, the ending of this society as we know it, the ending of the world as we know it, in the beginning of the kingdom of Yahweh Shema Shai, all right. That's why when it comes to this whole talk of, like I said, dealing with World War III, the nuclear threats, all the back and forth, the wars and rumors of wars, because pursuant to Isaiah 14, Esau, the so-called white man, he has made the world a wilderness, all right? Because the earth was made by the Heavenly Father to be inhabited, enjoyed by man, but Esau, he's made this whole world a prison. And even more so, America is a maximum security prison. That's what I've been talking about lately. The Spirit has been having it to where I've, just been talking about how, just dealing with the fact that, like I said, America, how the Lord's going to make a statement with America's destruction. All right. Which America is known in the scriptures as the golden cup in the Lord's hand. All right. America has been a major tool by the Heavenly Father to spew all the wickedness, the madness. All right, this kingdom. The scriptures talk about how all the nations have drunken up on wine and they're mad. And if you're paying attention to prophecy, if you understand prophecy, and if you're paying attention to prophecy, you see more and more. I'm gonna get this, because like I said, watching this clip, and the fact that all these nations over the years have been stacking up on their arsenals, dealing with these ICBM missiles. All right. These missiles are not going to be put up in some museum to be looked at for generations and generations. No, they're actually going to be put to use. All right. I'm going to get this in Revelation 17, because like I said, if you understand prophecy and you're paying attention, we see this taking place right before our very eyes, dealing with all these nations. All right, more and more they're doing away. They're America's allies are departing from Babylon. All right, siding with Russia. Right, which Russia is pretty much going to lead this charge in America's destruction. I'm gonna get this real quick before I grab that in Revelation. I'm gonna get this. Isaiah 13. Isaiah 13. Bear with me. Going into the, here it is, Isaiah 13:17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right. So who are the current inhabitants who's currently living in that general area of the Medes? That would be those Russian Edomites as of right now. You know, because the scriptures talk about how the sword is going to enter. When it comes to Esau, the sword is going to enter into his own house, because no other nation is capable of taking down Esau Edom other than Esau Edom himself. All right. So with that being said, or with all this talk of Russia in the news, because like I mentioned in the beginning, Esau, he's turned the whole world into a wilderness. All right. It's getting to a point where everyone's getting fed up with Esau. Everyone's getting fed up with America. All right. So pretty much everyone's pointing their guns at one another, like it's like a one big Wild Wild West stage. One big Wild Wild West scene. Everyone's pointing their guns at one another, and more, everyone's pretty much trying to figure out the culprit, like who's behind all this, and they're starting to see it's Babylon, it's America. So with that being said, the once big bad bully on the block is not the big bad bully on the block anymore. All right, because Russia, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, pursuant to prophecy, is the guard that all these nations, more and more nations are flocking to. Because America, like I said, the Lord is going to use Russia as a major instrument, a major tool in America's destruction. And we're seeing this more and more. This is why it's no coincidence. Russia, they pretty much, they possess the most nuclear weapons. They have more advanced weaponry, technology, so on and so forth. And that's why we see more and more of these nations siding with Russia, because this is all biblical prophecy. All right. So, like I mentioned with 17, Isaiah 13:17 again. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right. So, like I said, as far as who's currently inhabiting that area, that general area right now, it will be those Russians, those Edomite Russians. All right. And the Lord will use them as a major instrument in Babylon's destruction. So going to Revelation 17 now. Because like I said, with all this talk of nuclear warfare, it's not a coincidence, well, not a coincidence, but it's, because people think that, like I said, man, people think that it's just going to be one of those things where, as far as these nuclear weapons, they're just not going to be used. And these people, they're sadly mistaken. All right, Revelation 17. Revelation 17. Revelation 17:15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, the peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now, who is this horse? Talking about America. All right, Babylon. Because like I mentioned, America has been this tool, the golden cup in the Lord's hand, and spreading all this madness, all this wickedness, all the filthy abominations. All right, governments have been overturned. Nations have been crippled because of Babylon. The democracy. All right, and now everyone's tired of America, man. Everyone's tired of this whore. And I like to use the example, you know, because everyone slept with this whore, and now they've got burning in their pipes. They got some, you know, they have an STD and they're pissed off. You know, they have an STD and now they're pissed off. So one thing is going to lead to another. Like I said, if you understand prophecy and if you're paying attention to what's going on, one thing is leading to another. All right. And verse 16 again. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Going into the NATO and the EU. All right. Something's going to happen to where America's going to do something so you know, America's going to do something to the point where it's going to piss NATO, the EU, the European nations. All right. And like I said, because more and more we're already seeing all of America's allies turning on America, turning on Babylon. So America's going to do something to the point where all these nations, man, they're going to say, the hell with America. All right. And again, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, you know, talks about how the Lord is going to put an evil thought into those Russians. Because again, Russia is going to be pretty much the leading charge in America's destruction. All right. And once those little red buttons get pushed and the nukes start flying, that's it. So when you read on, it says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Going into this nuclear destruction. All right. Again, there's no, you know, all these nations, they you know, it's not like this. Not these nuclear bombs are not going to be used. They're going to be used. They're not going to be put up in some museum to be looked at, you know, forever and ever for generation after generation. No, they're going to be put to use. All right. I'm gonna go to this Revelation 16. Because, you know, you are going to have certain of these certain of these ICBM missiles being shot off in certain places, different places throughout the world. But that's why I read that Revelation 9. Because a bulk of them are going to be, when a majority of those missiles are going to hit here in America, completely turning this place into a lake of fire that you read about in Revelation 19, Revelation 20. All right, it's gonna come. The Lord's gonna overkill it, man. You know, and I mentioned this before because when you go back to the flood, you know, how the Lord 40 days and 40 nights of just, you know, rain. That's overkill. You know, it's overkill. You know, just speaking as a man, I'm sure it took only, you know, if that, a few days before people just perish, man. You know, maybe a few weeks, if that, you know. But again, just speaking as a man, you know, I'm sure it didn't take 40 days and 40 nights to you know, murk everyone. But nevertheless, it was overkill, you know. So when it comes to America's destruction with the thermonuclear fire, it's going to be overkill, and that's what's going to turn America into a lake of fire. All right, going to Revelation 16 and 17, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple having Salakia. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And you got to understand, because before the flood, which again in Revelation, this, like I just said, going into this, how America's going to be turned into a lake of fire. This is also known as the second death. Well, the first death was with the flood, And like I said, the Lord really overdid it. You know, the Lord pretty much, he really beat a dead horse with the flood. Because you got to remember, you know, at one point, all the countries, you know, continents and everything, it was one, you know. And they even taught us that in school. You know, everything was one. But when that flood took place, hey, this is what we see today with the different continents, countries, and whatnot. Well, with this destruction, like I just read in verse 18, Revelation 16 and 18, again, and there was voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. So what's that like? What's that going to be like? You know, hey, land masses are going to be destroyed. All right, new land masses are going to be created. It's going to be crazy, you know, because it's going to have volcanoes erupting. It's going to be ridiculous. All right, like I said, if at one point everything was one, all right, and the flood divided everything into what we see today, how much more the destruction this time? You know, because this earthquake is going to be caused by the missiles. You know, the earth is going to shake so much, is going to tremble so much. Those missiles are going to they're going to cause such devastation. All right, listen, there's no telling what type of we don't know, you know, but Lord willing, we're going to be in the chariot when this devastation is taking place, when this is going down. All right, let me get another one. Revelation 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's the spirit. Let me get it. Revelation 6 and 12. And I beheld when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. You see, matter of fact, reading verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. And what is this going into? These missiles, you know, it's going to be, because like I said, you're going to have different missiles. You're going to have missiles hitting different parts of the earth. All right, different places. But the majority of those missiles are going to touch here in America. And it's going to be so devastating, so great, it's going to block out the sun. You know, what comes to mind was that scene from 300 when you had all those arrows coming down and it blocked out the sun. You know, it turned the day into night. All right. You see, the Lord puts his spirit on these producers and movie directors to, you know, you know, it's all spiritual, you know. The Lord does that strategically. All right. Because they get these things from the scriptures. They make these movies. They make these movies, a lot of these movies based off the scriptures, to give, for the most part, to give, you know, the elect a bit of a visual. All right. So when those missiles come down, it's going to literally, and this is double fold, you know, but just to stick to the topic at hand, the missiles are literally going to block out the sun. It's going to turn the day into night. Right. Verse 13 again, and the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. Going into those missiles. It says, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. Now, if you know anything about a fig falling from the tree, you know, because a fig, that's it's pretty heavy. So oftentimes when a fig falls off the tree, when it falls off its leaf or whatever, it hits the earth with a force, you know. It hits the earth with a thud. All right. So that's likened unto the missiles hitting the earth. That's what it's likened unto a fig falling onto the earth, you know, with force. And so much that reading on it says, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, verse 14, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Because like I said, this devastation is going to be so great, man. Certain old land masses are going to be destroyed. New land masses are going to be created. All right. You know, and again, just speaking as a man, again, it's going to make what took place before the flood look like a walk in the park, you know, when everything was one. I think they call it the Pangea, right? When everything was one. Listen, this is going to be far more devastating, you know, to say the least. You know, because as I always say, man, the Lord's going to make a statement when it comes to Babylon's destruction. The Lord's going to make a statement. But Revelation 11 and 13. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 12. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them, because this will be a simultaneous event. As the missiles, in the height of World War III, as the missiles are coming down. All right. Well, in the height of World War III, as those missiles get shot off, because like I said, something's going to happen to where, hey, the Lord's just going to put that spirit on these nations. Start with them Russians, man. They're going to say, fuck it. You know, fuck America, fuck this shit. You know, going to press those little red buttons. All right. And the nukes are going to start flying. The sirens are going to be going off. Trumpets are going to be blown in the air. It's going to be a hectic day. You know, that sixth trumpet going into the seventh. You know, the sixth trouble also going into the seventh trouble. You know, it's going to be a hectic day, because this is what's going to usher in the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. All right. It's going to be Yahushua, in fact. You know, because once those missiles get shot off, hey, Yahushua is going to come and deliver his elect. And as those missiles are getting shot off, that's why the scriptures say, man, hey, the righteous are scarcely going to be saved, because, hey, those missiles are going to go up. And then once they hit that point to where they start to descend, they're going to ascend. And once they hit that point of descending, hey, you know, it's going to be like, oh, shit, you know, like, damn, you know, like, hey, brother's going to be calling on the names, and Lord willing, you know, and brother's going to get saved, man. The elect, nevertheless, they're going to get saved. All right. So as the missiles are coming down, the elect are going to get beamed up. They're going to get called up into those chariots. All right. The elect are going to get saved. And it says, verse 13, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. Talking about America. All right. America is divided into 10 FEMA zones. This is talking about America. Because, again, the majority of these missiles that all these nations are stacking up on, man, is going to hit here in America. It says, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. All right, just talking about a complete number, which is going to be a lot. A lot of people are going to die, man. Billions of people are going to perish. It says, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. You see, because, hey, man, the elect are going to be witnessing this destruction. And it's going to be like, oh, shit, you know. The elect are going to be in the new bodies, scared, you know, like I said, affrighted. They're going to be in the new bodies, because this shit, I can't say it enough. I can't stress it enough. The Lord is going to make a statement, man. The Lord is going to prove a point. He's going to make a statement. And just a sight of this, man, you know, the elect are going to be looking down. You know, the scriptures talk about that sea of glass. That sea of glass. Let me get that, man. Revelation 15. I'm going to start at 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And like I said, like I mentioned, or the Spirit had me mention, you know, because it just said in verse 1, the 7 last plagues, right? And that's how dangerously close we are. Because like the Spirit had me mention, you know, we're in the 6th plague going into the 7th, all right? Jacob's trouble is about to start, Lord willing, sooner than soon. But one thing is going to lead to another, all right? And you know, the height of World War III, the missiles are going to get shot, and Yahushua is going to come, all right? Those are the 6th plague. That's the 6th plague, or the 6th trouble going into the 7th, all right? So that's how dangerously close we are. Verse 2, and I saw as it were a sea of glass, all right, going into, because again, like, as it is read in Revelation 11, the elect are going to be in the chariots. They're going to be in the atmosphere, in the Shemayim, all right, you know, in the so-called outer space, looking down, you know. That's why I said, and I saw as it were, you know, John the Revelator. He, you know, he's seeing this vision of his own salvation, all right, as well as the rest of the elect, you know. It says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, because you see, and man, I forgot the movie. Man, I forgot the movie. It was a decent movie. Well, I'll say it's spiritual. But man, I forgot. It just came out like last year, I think. But basically, you had these American and Russian scientists basically on this basically in so-called outer space on the on the space, not spaceships, but the space shuttle or whatever. All right. And pretty much they didn't know what was going on Earth, and little did they know that World War III had broke out. And they looked down, and this is what you've seen. All right. A sea of glass mingled with fire. They were looking down in the space shuttle, which it caused tensions. It caused a lot of tension with them on the actual spaceship. The space shuttle. Because you had one side giving orders to kill the other side. And you had the other side had given orders to kill the other side, and everyone on the space shuttle was just trying to figure out, hey, what the hell is going on? But little did they know, World War III had broke out on Earth, on the planet Earth, and before they knew it, they looked down and, hey, it was a sea of glass mingled with fire. Nuclear war had broke out. I forgot the movie. It was a spiritual watch. But reading on, it says, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name stood on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. All right, because the elect, they were delivered from this destruction. Because listen, we don't want to be here. All right, Lord willing, man, we don't want to be here when this thing goes down, man. Lord willing, we're not here. But this is what this is all going to lead to. One thing is going to lead to another. All right, I'm going to get this in Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, all right, going into, this is when the real rapture is going to take place. All right, the real rapture. It's not going to take place before the destruction, but after. And this is when the elect, like I quoted, are scarcely going to get saved. All right, this is when the elect are going to get beamed up, delivered. So it said, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened. And again, this is a double fold. All right. But just sticking to the topic at hand. It said the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Now, what's going to cause in a literal sense, what's going to cause the sun and the moon to be darkened? What's going to cause pretty much what's going to cause the day to turn to night? It's going to be those missiles, man, blocking out the sun. There's going to be so many of them. Like I said, man, a lot of missiles, man. That's why I read that Revelation 9 and 16. 200 million warheads. All right. Like I said, that's overkill. Overkill. 200 million warheads. All right. It's going to hit America. That's what that Revelation 9 and 16 is going into. The 200,000, that's 200 million warheads. That's a lot of damn missiles. But Jeremiah 51, which Jeremiah 50, matter of fact, Jeremiah 50 and 51. Let me get 50. Jeremiah 50 and 14. Going into the destruction of America. All right. Jeremiah 50, I'm going to read verse 1. The word of the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. I'm just going into the point that this is talking about America, all right? Verse 3, it says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Yeah, because listen, real quick, I'm going to go back to that Isaiah 13. Isaiah 13. Isaiah 13 and 18, because like I read verse 17, going into the current inhabitants of the land of, you know, that the current occupants of that land of Moab, Slakia, not Moab, but the Medes. That would be the Russians. So verse 18 it says, their bows shall also Slakia, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. So what's this going into? Those missiles. All right, they're not gonna, you know, pause in midair and, you know, like, Lord, there's kids down here, man. We gotta protect the kids. No, you know, no. Hey, that's why we ought to get whoever it is to predestined to get beamed up is gonna get beamed up. Everyone else, which includes men, women, and children, hey, they're gonna be destroyed. That's it. You know, that's it. All right. Those missiles, once they touch down, they're not gonna regard, hey, if you're not of the elect, you're not going to make it. You know, and if the Lord saves you from the missiles, because Jacob's trouble, that's going to be one thing in itself. But if the Lord saves you from the missiles, he had a special hatred for you, man. The Lord had really had it out for you, man. So going back into Jeremiah 50, you know, which this whole chapter, you know, but just to get to the point, Jeremiah 50 and 13, because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her places, because at one point, hey, this was the place to be. Like I quoted, hey, America was the golden cup. You know, this is the place, you know, the American dream and so on and so forth. But the time is going to come, like, I just did a video yesterday, like, man, America's going to be unrecognizable, man. It's like, damn, you know, the line of confusion. Because again, you know, as I mentioned yesterday, hey, what's going to cause that line of confusion? The missiles. America's going to be one big desert when the dust settles. Verse 14, put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. So those arrows, man, you know, they're going to be shot from one end of the earth to the next. What's that going into? The ICBM thermonuclear missile, the fire, man. Hey, those thermonuclear missiles, man, nuclear destruction. There will be a nuclear fallout. All right. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51, verse 11. Matter of fact, verse 1. Jeremiah 51 and 1, just to show the point that this is talking about Babylon. And it's not talking about ancient Babylon, because when you go into it, as far as this destruction, Babylon is prophesied to be, you know, not inhabited by mankind. And clearly, you know, ancient Babylon is being inhabited today, you know. I believe it's modern day Iraq, if I'm not mistaken, you know. So clearly this is, you know, this destruction here is talking about at this time it was a future prophecy, because again, clearly ancient Babylon is being inhabited by man today. But as Jeremiah 51 and 1, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And when you read Revelation 7, all right, the Lord is holding back the winds of destruction because certain things have to take place. You know, mainly that MOTB. It says, verse 2, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And more, America's being surrounded. All right, more and more. America's being infiltrated, and more, America's being set up for the taking. All right. Verse 3, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his bringing, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. So again, if you're not of the elect, you're not going to make it. All right, and that's why we are hoping and praying, Lord willing, you know, because again, we don't want to be here when this destruction takes place. Like I said, if the Lord leaves you here while this destruction is taking place, because Jacob's trouble is going to be one thing, but if the Lord leaves you for the missiles, man, it's going to be, man, the Lord really had it out for you, man. You know, if the Lord really had it out for you, man. And listen, I say all the time, we don't want no smoke. We don't want no smoke. We get it. All right. Well, I'll say the elect get it. We don't want no smoke, man. All right. But verse 11 is the point. Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. For his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So you see, all right, like I said, you know, also known as those Russians, also known as Gog and Magog, again, pursuant to Ezekiel 38. They are the current inhabitants of the land of Gog and Magog, the Medes. All right, it's those Russians, you know. And the Lord is, as we see, if you're paying attention, the Lord is stirring them up. Here it is. Russia's talking about a terror attack, because Russia's been getting hit with these attacks, these terror attacks. All right, everyone's been poking. Well, America, you know, the West and his allies have been poking the bear, man. They've been poking those Russians. All right, and like I mentioned earlier, you know, everyone's more and more siding with them Russians, man. You know, everyone's leading towards those Russians, because it's all biblical prophecy. At the end of the day, it's all biblical prophecy, man. You know, but nevertheless, hey, one thing is going to lead to another, and all these nations are going to shoot their missiles at America. All right, as I read earlier, 200 million warheads. All right, so like I said, all these nations, they're not stockpiling on these missiles for no reason. No, they're going to be used, and the bulk of those missiles, the majority of them, are going to get hit here in America, man. So, Lord, one of this was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, like.